Welcome to Hot103Live.com. My name's Ace Burpee.
And I'm Chrissy Troy.
Today is the final day of I Love to Read Month. We've so far visited over 70 schools.
And we've read to over 1,000 students.
Thousands.
I know.
Well, it is thousands.
I know. I was going to correct myself.
But for those that we missed, welcome to the online live edition of I Love to Read Month, the first time ever attempted in the history of I Love to Read Month, by the way.
And so we'd like to share with you one of our favorite books. It's called Mucky Moose.
Yeah, it is. All right, so obviously it's a story about a moose, but I believe there's a wolf in it as well. So Chrissy Joy is going to be she's going to be two characters. She will be the wolf and the moose. I'll just read the story because I can't do good voices, but she can. You ready? It's a great story. Mucky Moose, written and illustrated by Jonathan Allen, no relation. In the tall, dark forests of the north, there lived a moose. His name was Mucky. He was called Mucky because he was mucky. The muckiest, smelliest moose that ever lived. Now, there was one muddy swamp in which every moose liked to wallow. Wallow, I believe, is like hang out. But some parts were much too smelly and sludgy for most moose. These were Mucky's favorite wallowing places. Now, Mucky was so smelly that he attracted flies from miles away. They buzzed around his head in a big cloud. Birds perched on his antlers and snapped up the flies, while frogs sat on Mucky's nose and caught flies too. Look at that's great. Mucky was so smelly, get this, that when he walked through the forest, all the other animals kept out of his way, all except the skunks, that is. Skunks, as everyone knows, smell terrible, but no skunk was ever even half as smelly as Mucky. Whenever skunks met Mucky, they were so impressed by his powerful smell that they gave him a round of applause. Yay! Now, also in the forest, there were lots of wolves. Now, everyone knows that wolves sometimes eat moose. When the biggest wolf in the forest heard about Mucky, the largest moose in the forest, he decided to eat him for his dinner. Oh, no. Oh, and here's the wolf.
I'm the biggest wolf in the forest, and I'm extra hungry, so I'm gonna eat the biggest moose in the forest,
he declared. That's funny. One morning, as Mucky was walking back from his daily smelly wallow, a cloud of flies buzzing around him, a line of birds on each antler, a huge wolf stepped out in front of him.
I'm gonna eat you for my dinner,
he snarled.
I just thought you might like to know.
And then Mucky says,
How interesting. But I'm afraid that doesn't fit in with my plans.
That's actually how a moose talks. It is. But he might have a talking moose. Well, the wolf was furious. No one had ever dared speak to him like that. He drew himself up to spring at Mucky. Then, suddenly, the wind changed direction and blew Mucky's horrible smell right at him. Wolves have very sensitive noses. To a wolf, Mucky's smell was positively dangerous. The wolf let out a short, choking noise and stopped in his tracks. Then he turned green, and then yellow, then green again, and his toes curled, and he collapsed in a dead faint. See? It's better when she acts it out. Yeah. It was the smell of the moose that did that.
Not hungry anymore?
Chuckled Mucky as he continued on his way. By the way, at the beginning there, that was a moose driving a tugboat. Yep, it's a moose driving a tugboat. You ever see that? When the wolf recovered, well, he was very angry indeed.
I'll get that moose.
He growled. That's going to be funny. Those are funny. A few days later, Mucky was strolling through the forest when the wolf once again stepped out in front of him. This time, he had a clothes peg on his nose to protect him from the moose's dangerous smell. And he said,
I'm going to eat you for my dinner.
what he meant to say was, I'm going to eat you for my dinner, but with the clothes peg on his nose, you know how it is.
You're going to do what?
Asked Mucky.
Yeah, I'm going to eat you for my dinner.
That's so weird, yelled the wolf, his voice shaking with anger.
I'm sorry, but I can't understand a word you're saying with that thing on your nose.
Mucky replied. The wolf spluttered, then snatched the peg off his nose.
I said, I'm going to eat you for...
As Mucky's smell hit him, the wolf turned green, and then yellow, and his ears curled up and his tail bent like a corkscrew. Then his legs crossed, and he fell sideways in a faint even more deadly than before. What was she doing behind there? I couldn't see her. I had the book open. What was she doing? A what?
A wobble.
A weeble wobble?
A dizzy faint.
Oh, okay.
Poor wolf's been taken ill. What a shame.
It took the wolf a whole week to recover. He was beside himself with anger.
I'll sort out that smelly monster of a moose.
He swore. As he was walking back from his daily wallow, Mucky was surprised again to see the wolf step out in front of him. This time, he was wearing a gas mask.
Uh-oh, this is serious.
He cried in a slightly muffled voice.
Got you now, Mucky Moose. Prepare to be my dinner, and about time too, I'd say.
The wolf drew himself up to his full height, ready to spring.
Sorry, Mr. Wolf. How are you going to bite me with that mask on?
Good point.
Well, good question.
Good question. What are you doing? He yelled in frustration, tearing the gas mask from his face.
Smell or no smell, I'm going to eat you right now.
And with a roar, he leapt at Mucky, his fangs bared. These are claws, but picture these as teeth. It's quite scary. Oh man, when the smell hit him this time, he turned not only green, then yellow, but purple too. His eyes crossed, his knees knocked together, and his tail revolved at high speed. Mucky shrugged and, shaking his head, stepped over the wolf's body and continued on his way. This is actually the sound of Mucky walking. This is the sound he makes.
He hums to himself when
Yeah.
he walks.
It's like an 86 Topaz. That's what it sounds like. The wolf did not bother Mucky again after that. He left the forest forever, never to return. And changing his wicked ways, he went to the nearest city to become a guide dog for the blind. He did.
Oh my!
Yeah. This is true. The other wolves sensibly kept away from Mucky, who just carried on as he always had, wallowing happily in the smelliest parts of the swamp that he could find, and talking to his friends, the birds,
The frogs.
and the skunks.
The end. What do we think, everybody? What'd you think about that? Yay!
Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your I Love to Read month. And remember,
Ooh, reading is cool.
sure is. Sure is. Yes, it is. Kill him.